What is up, YouTube? I'm Devon DaVinci, leader of the Renaissance crew, and you're watching DaVinci Reacts. Today we have another animal-themed video, interestingly. Today is a very animal-heavy video, or animal-heavy day. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video by tierzoo. This is the lizard tier list. I think this is recent. No, it's not. It actually came out the end of last year. I didn't know that. I don't know why, because I haven't seen this. This is the lizard tier list. Something I should have obviously checked out because, I mean, I love tierzoo, but I love lizards too. Lizards, dinosaurs, pterosaurs. I'm a fan of them. Why the hell didn't I watch this? But whatever. For those of you that watch my channel a lot, you know that I do a lot of TV show reactions. Just a quick announcement. I have a thread where I discuss it further. So if you want to address it, then go to my channel, go to the community tab, and look for the post where I'm addressing this. That's where you should leave the comments. I am stepping away from TV shows, and I'm going to be focusing more on YouTube videos. It is, well, I'll explain it all in the post. That way I don't make this intro too long. But that's where you will leave the comments if you want to address it. And if I feel like there's a lot of comments, I'll probably make a video just addressing it in general. But as of right now, I'm focused on this. So today we're going to be getting into, as I said, the lizard tier list. I don't really know what to expect, but we will find out in a second. Hold on. Anyway, let's do this. Link for tierzoo will be at the end of this video. The last 30 seconds, if you click on the icon that pops up over here, it'll take you to their channel. You can like, comment, subscribe, all the other good stuff. And of course, the original link is in the description box down below. In case you want to watch it without me possibly pausing or talking over it, or if you're a reactor yourself and you want to get the original link, that's the link that you would use. Anyway, let's do this. I did click it. I've been having a delay today for some reason.
This video was made in partnership with CuriosityStream. Reptiles are a diverse faction full of many strategies, and generally speaking, they tend to be fairly straightforward. Turtles are tank builds that spec into high defensive stats at the cost of mobility. Crocodiles are damage dealers that focus on grappling to secure kills.
DPS.
Snakes optimize for stealth and rely on status effects to bring down their targets. But where do lizards fit into the meta? They aren't really known for extreme speed, but as far as cold-blooded builds go, they're quicker than most. And while not as tanky as turtles, and not as stealthy as snakes, they can hold their own in each of these departments as well. Some of the larger lizards can even give crocodilians a run for their money in the power category too. While many of them could best be described as jack-of-all-trades generalists, there are also plenty of lizards with extremely unique abilities. So to better understand the many different game plans employed by the lizard player base, today we're going through the lizard tier list. Before we get into the tier list though, first I'd like to start with some background on the history of the lizard faction. So back during the Carboniferous expansion, the meta revolved around the conflict between the two most powerful factions, the amphibians and the arthropods. However, during this time, a small subsection of the amphibian player base unlocked two new special abilities, the eggshell, which allowed them to respawn on dry land rather than in the water, and scales, which gave them massively increased dehydration resistance. This eliminated their reliance on water and allowed them to explore tons of new strategies, eventually diversifying into all of the reptile builds in today's meta, as well as a few that were so overpowered that they ended up getting nerfed. The most powerful lizard build of all
not
time
dinosaurs.
was the Mosasaurus, a build that arose from a player base of beach-dwelling monitor lizards that spec'd into aquatic mobility options in order to avoid being griefed by dinosaurs. But what are the most powerful lizards of today's meta? We're actually going to begin in D tier, as I don't think there are any truly
I know the
awful
Komodo
lizard
Dragon's
builds.
probably going to be on the top,
adaptations they've
maybe.
made to eliminate the weaknesses
I'm
of
thinking
their
of what the other
amphibian
one's gonna be.
ancestors is enough to escape bottom tier, in my opinion. So how do lizards stack up? Let's get into the tier list.
The
In D
skink.
tier, we have the Skink, a smaller lizard build with very little in the way of unique special abilities. Their stats are also quite low, and their game plan generally just consists of chasing down players in the lower weight classes, and struggles pretty hard when forced to defend itself. In particular, this build has a lot of trouble dealing with birds. Despite the fact
Doesn't
that it
it
often hunts
lose
in
its
grassy
tail?
fields, It lacks the stealth stats required to avoid detection from above. In fact, many skinks are known for being brightly colored or having one specifically brightly colored body part. Skinks try to avoid being griefed by digging burrows for themselves, and while burrows are a great hiding place, the burrowing playstyle tends to work best when you've got the ability to launch a powerful attack in a single direction, since the bottleneck of a burrow makes it near impossible for a predator to approach without getting hit. Skinks can't really mount any sort of attack, so if their burrow gets discovered, it's most likely game over. The one defensive ability they do have is one commonly found in the lizard player base: autotomy. Autotomy allows the user to drop their tail in order to get one free escape from a combo or grab. Now, to be fair, being able to break out of your opponent's death combos is an extremely useful trait that can save you from certain defeat. But with that said, autotomy is extremely costly to use, isn't guaranteed to work, and leaves you with reduced max HP for the rest of the game.
He gave you the tail, you still wanted more.
Has regenerative abilities. For the larger lizard builds, losing your tail also removes one of your best offensive options. But for the skink, this isn't as big a problem. With all that being said, skinks are one of the more lackluster lizard builds, so let's keep going and get to the more interesting ones. Also in D tier we have the basilisk lizard, which is most notable for its use of the sprint ability, not just to move fast on land, but also to cross bodies of water. At first, this ability seems quite impressive, and it certainly is a flashy feat, but upon further examination, I don't think it's really all that useful in the long run. Being on the surface of the water is quite possibly the most vulnerable position in the game, leaving you open to attacks from above and below. But ultimately, I think it's more important to just point out that the whole reason the reptile faction split off from the amphibian player base in the first place was to remove their reliance on water. So choosing an ability with a pretty situational use that also requires that the user be on the water's edge to use it is kind of a step backwards in the grand scheme of things. The basilisk doesn't even have bad stats. It couldn't use the water dash move without above average mobility. But still, I think its choice of moveset is pretty self-limiting, and they'd be better off speccing into other signature moves. In C tier, we have two lizard builds who invested heavily into the climbing ability. The gecko build operates in a similar manner to the tree frog, with cling pads enabling it to climb any surface with ease. As far as mobility perks though, this is probably one of the best in the game. It works great as an escape option, but is also fantastic for utility and even for offense, allowing the user to approach targets that are normally harder to reach. Being able to hang on tight is also super important for arboreal combat, as fall damage is a major threat. With such a strong clinging ability, geckos can often be the ones tossing other players into the void below. Geckos do have a fair number of weaknesses though. They opt to use their tails to store energy, which can be a useful ability, but unfortunately in doing so,
they had them in the past, but they
use their tails to attack.
Ramped them up.
Geckos also do not have scales, instead opting for skin that gives disease resistance bonuses, so their armor class is lower than that of most lizards, and actually more akin to amphibians. Because of this, they're quite vulnerable to piercing damage, such as bird talons and snake fangs. And with relatively low damage output, their only real hope against such attacks is stealth, which some do definitely excel at. All in all, solid mid-tier. The Anole is a small, agile lizard build with a surprising number of special abilities, most notable of which are their adhesive toe pads and their color-changing skin. Most builds that run the cling pad ability tend to be more bulky and cumbersome. Anoles emphatically break this mold, being both excellent climbers and having a climbing speed that rivals that of the squirrel. Because of this, they're great at escaping attacks by jumping between trees and scrambling up branches. But where things really get interesting is with the color change perk. Now, the ability to change colors is one of the most downright broken stealth perks in the game, and one of the main reasons I consider cephalopods top tier.
Yeah, octopuses have like
probably
the
most
best
basic
camouflage
version of the color
in
change perk, allowing them
Kingdom.
to shift between green and brown at will. While nowhere near as versatile as some other color-changing builds, green and brown are pretty much all you'd need the vast majority of the time. This change is very gradual though, so it's unlikely to allow you to escape mid-combat.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because, similar to the gecko, the Anole suffers from a lack of combat options when caught out in the open.
Ooh, Gila Monster.
Last in C tier we have the Gila Monster. The Gila Monster is one of the tankier lizard builds, and possesses one of the highest damage outputs in the game for its size. It owes this high damage not to its actual power stat, but to its venomous bite, a rare ability among lizards. This makes them extremely dangerous in close combat, and combined with their excellent defensive stats and digging ability, this allows them to easily vanquish all the players in any nest it discovers. The Gila Monster is extremely slow moving though, which can cause issues if it's ever forced to flee.
That squirrel
or if it
has
needs
no
to chase down
chill.
a
I was like, I
target.
don't care.
The lack of a long whip-like tail also means its defensive combat options
Screw
aren't
your
near
poison,
as diverse
homie.
as other larger lizards. Still, with one of the most devastating bites in the game, it's certainly no low tier.
Iguana.
In B tier, we've got the tried and true Iguana, arguably the best representative of the lizard build as a whole.
Whenever I see
as
Iguana,
it
I
has
think of the
essentially all
old game
main
development
weaknesses
company.
and strengths of its class. I have an entire video on the Iguana, so go check that out if you want an in-depth review. But in short, the Iguana sports mid-range stats across the board, and is the first lizard on the tier list to make use of its tail for something other than a sacrificial scapegoat. The Iguana's tail whip attack allows it to control a solid defensive zone around itself in all directions, enabling it to defend itself from group attacks. Tail whip's damage is on the low side though, so a persistent attacker could potentially just eat the damage in order to break through and land its own attacks. The Iguana also has access to the autonomy
That dog was like, we're going for a
but this
ride.
is especially costly in the Iguana's case, as it'd also be giving up its best combat move in the process. Overall, a solid mid-tier with lots of potential, especially in the marine servers. The Chameleon build sports several of the most unique abilities in the game. So most lizards, especially the insectivorous ones, have a pretty simple game plan for taking down enemies. Chase them down and grab them. This strategy has a lot of limitations though. First of all, it means you've got pretty much no options to attack a player who is too large to grab. It also forces you to optimize heavily towards mobility, forcing you to neglect other potential strategies in order to have a chance at catching up to your target. The Chameleon subverts this limitation by speccing into one of the strangest abilities in the game, a tether tongue attack.
Get over here.
This essentially functions as a
here.
ranged grab, and is extremely effective at scoring the Chameleon kills. This also allows the Chameleon the freedom to prioritize other stats over mobility, and in the Chameleon's case, they're clearly optimized for stealth, as evidenced by their other special ability, Color Change. Now, while chameleons can change color in order to buff their camouflage, most use it for communication and intimidation, shifting to brighter colors to display dominance. While they don't have the same cling pads that geckos and anoles do, their prehensile tail gives them extra security to ensure that they don't get easily ripped out of trees, and allows them to attack from riskier positions. With all this said though, they still struggle when caught out in the open because of their low mobility. And they also share the same offensive weakness of not being able to take down players that they can't gulp down in a single bite. The Tegu is a lizard build that has long been overlooked, but has recently become a serious contender on the tier list. Its recent invasion into the North American server has destabilized the local meta, and when you look at their stats, it's easy to see why. Tegus are similar in both strategy and stats to the Iguana, but slightly slower and more defense-oriented. Their thicker hide and stockier build allows them to shake off attacks that would send other characters reeling. They've also got a higher intelligence stat than most lizards, which in addition to making them surprisingly decent support builds, also makes them great at outsmarting builds like alligators in order to attack their nests. Tegus are also omnivores, meaning they aren't forced to participate in PvP in order to level up. They did spec into the autonomy ability though, which I unfortunately think keeps them out of top tier. Before I reveal the top tier lizards, I just want to say real quick, if you've made it this far and are enjoying the video, it would sure make my day if you subscribed. Thanks. So without a shadow of a doubt, the best lizard build is the Monitor Lizard. They have everything. They've got the best stats, a combination of great mobility, power, size, and intelligence.
So is the Komodo Dragon not a lizard?
Monitor lizards have an extremely powerful tail whip, capable of deterring even top-tier predators. Monitor lizards also have a venomous bite.
I have to
which
find out what the
again,
definition of a
rarity in the
lizard
lizard
is.
faction. While not the speediest lizards outright, they do have great versatility in their movement, being able to swim efficiently as well as climb most surfaces, though not to the same degree as the marine iguana or the gecko respectively. Their high intelligence enables them to consistently figure out ways to successfully raid the spawn points of other players, and their high defense makes it so they can be rather difficult to stop once they've committed to an attack. This faction also contains the most powerful lizard in the game, a lizard that reaches near dinosaur power levels.
So it is the Komodo Dragon. Yeah, I was wondering, is that not a lizard?
Komodo dragons are extremely powerful. They have a venomous bite that, while not as powerful as cobra venom, is still powerful enough to seriously weaken even the tankiest builds. But even without that, they'd be an absolute powerhouse. Their tail swipes, claw slashes, and thrashing bites can easily shred through the HP of their targets. Their only real weakness is their speed, which, while solid, isn't broken by any means. Still, with their incredible sense of smell, a player can never really truly escape a Komodo that's hunting them. The distance that you need to flee in order to make the Komodo unable to track you down would require you to leave the island server entirely. Last but certainly not least, Komodos, as well as the entire monitor lizard player base, understand that their tails are an invaluable weapon that shouldn't be sacrificed in order to escape a battle. So there you have it, the lizard tier list. Hopefully now you've got a good understanding of the lizard's strategies and matchups. Admittedly, there were a few things I had to cut from the script of this video to avoid demonetization or age restriction. If you want to see the director's cut of this episode, you can check it out on Nebula, a streaming service made by and for creators. I do this with all of my new videos, uploading ad-free and uncensored versions of my videos there, as well as a few entirely exclusive videos. In addition, you can check out my appearance on the Nebula exclusive podcast Genesis if you're interested in hearing my character's backstory. Nebula has partnered with CuriosityStream to bring you both services for less than $15 a year, which is 26% off the price of what CuriosityStream alone normally goes for. CuriosityStream, if you somehow didn't already know, is another amazing streaming service where you can watch thousands of high-quality documentaries, including Amazing Dino World, a documentary about the aforementioned Mosasaurus. To get access, head to curiositystream.com/tierzoo. Thanks again to CuriosityStream for partnering with us at Nebula.
I think I might not be able to do it. I signed up a long time ago with CuriosityStream. I believe using tierzoo. So, yeah, that's been this video. Yeah, I mean, I knew that lizards and reptiles aren't necessarily the same thing. Like, just because you're a lizard doesn't mean, or just because you're a reptile doesn't mean you're a lizard. But, yeah, for a minute I was scratching my head, like, I could have sworn Komodo dragons. But, yeah, and I think when it comes to, like, reptiles and dinosaurs, it has something to do with their hip bone. Is that what separates the two? But I think they're dinosaurs without the bird-like hip bone. So I'd have to really, like, search it again and look it up to see what exactly the story is with that. But, yeah, like, I definitely learned some stuff watching this. Now, if you guys like to see more of it, again, hit the like button. Let me know what you all think. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and share these videos to help build the community. I do look forward to seeing what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. If you have any information that I might have asked for in this video because I didn't know the answer to something, feel free to let me know in the comment section. If you just want to talk about animals or whatever, feel free to let me know or talk about it. If you want to show me some support outside of just hitting the like button, I do have a Patreon that you can sign up for. It has exclusive content as well as early access to some videos, or at least it will in the very near future, I'd say within the week. And you also get access to the Discord server as of right now. That's going to open up later on this month for the general public, but as of right now, it is exclusively for Patreon. So if you would like to join and chat and whatnot, then feel free to do that. And it has an exclusive live stream that I will be doing this Saturday, in which case I will likely be doing a tier list of my own. I don't know what the subject is going to be on exactly, but I will be doing a tier list together with the community. And I also will be doing live reactions. So if you have a link for a video on YouTube or something, it doesn't have to necessarily be YouTube, but a video that you'd like to see me do a reaction to, all you got to do is just post the link in the chat, and I will be checking them out as the stream goes on. All my streams are 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. I also stream on YouTube, so this is something you don't need a Patreon for, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The last stream I did, I played Portal. I completed it. I'm happy that I was able to complete it in one stream. This next stream coming up this Wednesday is going to be, well, this Wednesday. Was it? Yeah, this Wednesday. I record this before it comes out. This Wednesday I will have a stream where I will be playing an indie horror game called Power Wash. I believe it's a game centered around a haunted laundromat, I think. It's a retro style game. The graphics look like it came from PlayStation 1. So it does seem like it would be interesting to go and check out. Uh, so if that's something you want to check out, then feel free to join that stream. And Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be playing Portal 2, and I will try to complete that game as well. So if any of those games interest you, feel free to check them out. But until then, I'm Devon DaVinci. I'm giving you the deuces, and I'm signing out. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say in the comment section down below. So that's pretty much it. It is very late for me, so I'm kind of tired. That's the reason why I'm kind of off right now. I'm not as hyped as I might usually be in certain situations, but yeah, just ignore me and my tiredness. I'm gonna give you the deuces, and I'm signing out. Peace.